All right, hello everyone. Welcome to episode 34 of the Cloud9 Kia Forecast, brought to you by Kia, once again. Meteos is not here. Meteos is in Korea, so I'm your host again. I'm here with I Will Dominate, famous streamer, big name, and always plan ahead from TL, our new mid laner. Yeah, ahead. Sorry, no D. Welcome to the team, Ian. Great to meet you for the first time right here. We haven't spoken before.
Yeah, never spoken once before.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
You wanna introduce yourself to the fans?
I'm sure if you guys watch like LCS, you guys probably know of me. But like I was on Team Liquid for the past 3 years, and then like I didn't continue with Team Liquid at the end of this off season, or start of this off season, I guess. So yeah, now I'm here.
Awesome.
Great.
Yeah. So TL sucks. We're better, of course. So a huge upgrade
except
for
when
you.
I was on them, and then you guys sucked.
Yeah. Okay.
Now I'm here.
Nice you go.
Well,
nice you go.
If you look at the standings of last split,
Yeah, they wouldn't agree. But
yeah, they didn't agree. They said that you
last time you guys
sucked
make
more
Worlds?
than us. What? Well,
When's the last time you guys made a Worlds?
2012.
Well, I'm an arrow, so it's been a while. You know, like it is what it is. So,
Noted.
so we got here. What was it like four days
5
ago?
days ago.
Yeah, we flew together. Dom, you came like shortly after.
Yep.
You guys jet lagged. How do you guys
Not
feel?
anymore. Like I was pretty much fixed by like the first day or so. I'm
Yeah.
pretty good with jet lag.
Yeah.
Like I know you guys talked about how like Blabber and like Loki were like complete noobs at
Jet lag demons.
but
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I've always been pretty good.
Blabber jet lags himself though. Like he intentionally makes it as bad as possible, just so we can say he's jet lagged. Like he's fully on board. He's indoctrinated into like the jet lag culture. Like for me
Nice.
personally, like I think jet lag's a myth. So I just
I mean, this guy doesn't
Sure.
sleep, by the way.
Yeah.
Just so everyone knows. Like last split, you were doing streaming, showing up to scrims,
Yep.
gym, like,
Yep.
and then real life outside of that as well.
yeah
So, awesome.
yeah.
I don't know how you
Still.
do it. Jet lag can't exist for you. It's literally impossible.
Yeah, because I'm just jet lagged 24/7.
Yeah, you were always up at night for
How much do you
LCK.
normally sleep at night last year?
Depends on the night. I mean, there was some really bad nights because when LCS would end at like 7, 8 p.m. for me Central Time, LCK would start at midnight. So it'd be like, sometimes
hours
I
of
would
sleep.
sleep like, well, because the thing is like, maybe there's a 4-hour gap. Sometimes I would sleep like 3 hours or like 2 hours and yeah, it would just be horrible. But I'd say average, I probably slept like 5.5 hours a night if I were to like average
Nice.
it through the week. So I'd get like maybe 35 hours a week, 38 hours a week, something like that.
Yeah, I would be dead, personally.
Yeah,
I would be doomed.
yeah.
So, just
pretty
better.
dead. Yeah.
What about off-season? How did off-season look for you, Ian? I know how it did for us. I'll jump into that after, but what was it like for you?
Well, for me, it was just like I knew pretty early on that I wasn't going to continue with TL. Like probably, like it was like October 1st. I had a meeting with Dodo, and it was like, yeah, we're not going to continue. Blah blah blah. I like all that good stuff, and it's like you also get the feeling, you know, you just get sixth
Just like,
place.
no, something's coming.
Like they shot Impact in the head like immediately,
Yeah,
so
nice.
like you pretty much get the feeling that I was gone, like right after our season ended. So like I kind of knew, and then of course like the meeting like early October, just like confirmed it, and then like for me it was just I literally just reached out to like every team possible, like honestly except C9.
Yeah.
Funnily enough,
You thought we were just
I thought
set?
from everything I understood, like you guys were set with Loki, and then
Yeah,
So
I was
we
just-
thought too.
yeah, that's what we thought too.
It was a surprise for both of us.
so like I didn't even bother reaching out to you guys because like there's like they're not going to replace him. Like I'm not even gonna. There's no point in having a conversation. And then so I like reached out to like pretty much all the other NA teams, like all the EU teams,
Yeah.
and then like gauged interest from them. Like some, like I would say like half the NA teams, half the EU teams got back to me, and like we like set up calls and had conversations with them, and then it was literally just like randomly David, the C9 GM, just added me in Discord. And he just goes, yo, are you able to talk? Because of course I was still under contract with TL, but are you able to talk? And I was like, yeah, this is great. Like, I'd love to join C9. You know, you guys are often title contenders, and I love winning. So, sounds like a great combo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, winning is good. What were your other options that were out there?
Like the immediate options were just like lower tier teams, like DSG Dig. And then like I was still somewhat trying to talk with Shopify or Sentinels, and then like some like lower tier EU teams,
Yeah.
and then
K Corp or something like.
Yeah, lower tier
Yeah.
teams. Yeah.
dog shit K Corp.
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome.
Nice. Don't open your DMs.
Yeah, just, do not just piss off the French for no reason. Really good play.
It's like kind of funny though. So.
And then like I thought in my head, like if I really got like no solid offers, like I'd even be willing to like look at Brazil, like if I can get to a Brazilian top team. But then like I said, just C9 reached out to me, so I didn't have to go down that route.
I'll
Yeah.
say technically we did lose to Brazil, so we might be lower than a Brazilian top
True.
team. Like,
Yeah, we did lose to Brazil
We got clapped out
on our best
so.
comp as well.
Yeah.
So quite
The
tragic.
sixth place Brazilian team. So technically we're like the worst
We're
Brazilian
like bottom
team.
tier.
Yeah, we're like a bottom
Brazil.
tier Brazilian
Yeah.
team.
So welcome aboard, man.
Yeah, welcome.
Awesome. What'd you do for off-season, Dom? What was it like for you?
Not much. I mean, my off season was like at the same time of Worlds, so I was having like conversations while I was here in Korea, co-streaming. So pretty much just co-streaming and then working with you, like obviously preparing for this season, trying to figure out like what our roster was gonna look like, especially after our mid laner, decided last minute that he wasn't gonna be able to continue. So
Yeah.
So I'm sure more people want to know, but like what actually happened. Like
Yeah. So we can go to the Cloud9 Kia off-season roster discussion. That was pretty eventful. We were initially just planning to run back the same roster.
yeah,
We did look around in off-season, just on the off chance, like a player finds a different opportunity they want. But our main goal was just retain the same players and run back with our new setup. And then a curveball kind of came in off-season. Obviously, as everyone knows now, Loki had some personal things happen and ended up deciding he wants to stay in Korea and not continue playing. Obviously, not going to go into like what that is, but it's pretty like sad to see happen.
Yep.
We all really liked Loki. Like working with him was great.
yeah.
We're supposed to get food with him sometime this week, whenever he makes it into Seoul. So yeah, pretty last second, we were just had to dive into, oh shit, we got to look at mid lane options.
Yeah.
Because initially, like mid lane wasn't really one we even like looked at with like a worry of leaving, because Loki was pretty set on, I'm staying here. This is going to be my spot. I'm going to
Yeah.
play. So it's
I
like,
also
cool.
think
We're
like
happy with
last
that
year,
too.
like most players even said this to us, like compared to expectations, like he was the rookie on the team and like
Yeah.
he was one of the best performing players that we
Yeah.
had. So like most people really, thought that he was
Yeah.
going to be like a, a
I mean,
big
yeah.
piece of our team.
same for me. Like there was two teams I didn't reach out to. It was like C9 and FlyQuest, just because like I had the feeling from like other people I talked to,
Yeah.
it was just like both those teams were just going to keep their mids, and like of course Fly kept quad.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like I genuinely don't even reach out to you guys at all. So I was just incredibly surprised one day when
Yeah, surprise.
I get like
yeah,
a
surprise.
fun
We were
match.
surprised
Interesting.
too. So
Yeah.
it is what it is. But I think also when you have a player like Loki, part of the reason why we were willing to run it back is even though people would say like, oh well, look at what the results were. Like they weren't. We got second in spring and then fourth in summer. And even though those results were not what we expected or what we wanted, it's like we had to go through the process of incorporating a new Korean player. Like at the beginning, Loki spoke pretty much no English. By the end, we could finally communicate with him, and we thought,
Yeah.
okay, if we keep a player like this, like it'll only get better in terms of us being able to find common ground on how we want to play the game. I mean, also I think culturally, Loki was somebody who kind of just was down for whatever. Like if you told him like what you wanted him to do, he would agree with it. And we
You'd
had
say, okay, whatever
we
you
would
say.
have moments where like he would say what he wanted to do, and then somebody would say the complete opposite of that, and then he would be like, I agree. And it was like,
Yeah.
wait, so
That
what do
sounds
you
like a
actually
great
want?
idea.
Yeah, yeah. So
Let's
Loki
do
was
that.
always funny with
Yeah.
those. Yeah.
he was just down for whatever. So we figured, okay, he has more confidence now. Like he'll, be somebody who will integrate himself like even better into the team in the future. But obviously things happen. So
Yeah.
we started looking for mids, and I think a big thing for us was thinking about like what type of players would fit our team, like what qualities we were really looking for in a player. Because I think a lot of times you get into the mentality where it's like, okay, like who's the best player in lane? You just watch a bunch of VODs and you just see who's like a good mechanical player, and you just have the like expectation that it's like, okay, well if we coach them, then they'll be better at the things outside of lane. But that's not really how it works. Like people have like natural like tendencies and just things that they're like good at. And that's how we landed on a player like APA. Like we thought that APA would be the best fit for our team, considering like what we lacked last year, and just like your play style and who you are as a person. I think is something that we've been wanting to push ourselves toward. Like, I think last year it was very obvious that we were a super standard team. Like we were pretty boring to watch, I would say, like in terms of like
just like win lane and then
win
go to
lane,
objectives.
Yeah, win lane, go to objectives, and it's like that's cool. But when you do that every game, it's fairly easy, and it's not something that we didn't recognize and we didn't try to change. But I think that having a player like you that has like that flair will add a lot to this type of team.
Yeah. I mean, so far we're one practice day in, so we don't have like a huge sample size, but there's a lot of like positives there we've already talked about, things that you do naturally that should be helpful for us, like add like a little bit of that extra that Dom is talking about.
Yeah.
The other change, obviously, it's like coaching staff. Dom, big one being you coming in. You were remote last split, working more as like a consultant.
Yeah.
Doing more coaching as we got towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
What is that like for you? Like you're jumping from streaming, then doing this at the same time, kind of like just maximizing League. What is it like for you now?
Well, for me, it's really exciting. Like I haven't been fully in the competitive scene for a decade at this point since I was a player, and it's something I've wanted to do, but it always felt like the opportunity wasn't correct. I always said that I would like to coach at some point, but I didn't want to, go through the process of maybe coaching in tier 2 for a year or coaching on like a bad team. Yeah, exactly. Where it's like, you don't feel like you can win, and it's like just, to me, I think it's more fun to coach a team with like potential and trying to get like the most out of players instead of like band-aiding a bunch of problems. And I feel like when you're on a lower tier team, it's like, how do we get any wins at all? Like, how do we like scrape together wins? Like, what can we do to like cheese wins? Like, I still remember CLG in 2021, they're running like the Bronze Zodiac comp with like Vi when it was way out of the meta, and like Galio. It's
the
like
Vi Galio combo.
Just press all your R's on one person and then somebody will die. Like that's how you have to coach a team. Like that to me, I don't think would be fulfilling. So it was like, I just kind of thought I would never end up coaching because I didn't think that a team like Cloud9 would just straight up give me like an offer. Like I thought they'd, need to prove myself. But I think the perfect thing ended up happening where I was able to kind of do that within the team while also streaming, and then,
show your worth that way.
Yeah, show my worth that way. And then, going into this year, I was really excited to just go full time. I mean, I think that I'm more of a competitive person than a like entertainer, I would say. Like, even though I think I'm able to do both, like I care more about the competition. Like that's more fun for me. But I just played in an era where there was a massive imbalance between what it was like to be a streamer, the value of a streamer, and the value of a pro player. So that's like why I ended up going the streaming route in the first place. So I mean, this is something that I've always wanted to do, and I honestly think it'll be good for me on all fronts. I still think that I'll be able to stream like sometimes, but I always think personally that my streams are better when I'm streaming when I want to stream, as opposed to, okay, I have to wake up at 5 a.m. and stream every single day, or wait 4 a.m. and stream every single day. That's what I think like becomes
you become
like
a zombie, and then
it starts like wearing down, and then at the end, you're not even entertaining anymore. So I think that it will literally improve my streaming quality when I do stream, and like I'll be able to do something that I expect to find more fulfilling at the same time. So for me, it's like the perfect way to go about things. And yeah, I just really want to work with the team.
Another big piece of it that's pretty exciting for us, you're going to be in person. So you're actually moving to LA to be with the team.
Of course.
Not going to be remote. So I've done remote and like in person. Much prefer in person, but just kind of explain like what's your motivation for doing that and what you see as like the difference between remote versus in-person coaching.
Well, I think that now I can be like fully integrated. I think when you're remote, there's this weird thing where it's like, I don't know if I should really push for this because like, let's say you have an idea or like a champion you really think is good, or like you understand like spots that you want to pick it. If you're not going to be on stage and you're not going to be able to be like, hey, this is like the triggers that I see, I think that this is like what you should do right now. I feel like it's weird where it's like you don't want to cross that boundary in a way because you want them to feel comfortable to do, what's best for them. And you just don't feel like you're going to be able to push them in the right direction. So there's this weird ground where it feels like you can't fully commit as a remote coach. And also like when it comes to team dynamics, like for example, when teams have arguments or something, sometimes I would chime in with like the overhead thing, but it's like
Yeah.
the setup that we had. It's like I had a camera and a mic in the scrim room, but you can't. It was like 144p. You couldn't
Yeah.
see the
It
players'
is not
faces.
a very like clean camera.
Yeah.
It's like a little pixelated like
Yeah, so it's
person
like-
in the corner that's there.
Like for example, it's so pixelated that I could not tell the difference between like Sven and Vulcan. Like I'm like they're two like kind of tall white guys. Like which one is that? Like
Yeah.
like I would like have to look for like I think those are glasses. Like and that's
Yeah.
how I would determine who I was like talking to. So it was like really weird to sometimes want to say something, but then like somebody else is starting to speak, so we both speak at the same time. It's like okay, you go
and you're
first.
doing,
Like
lag and everything too.
it's just like a real
Yeah.
awkward situation. So
I mean, you would ask me if like, how did they react to this? Because you can't tell.
yeah,
I have to
I'd be
tell
like,
you like, yeah,
did this
it seemed
person like
he
understand my
was understanding
point?
it.
Because
Yeah.
a lot of times our team was like quiet. So last year I did a lot of like presentations on stuff,
Yep.
and when somebody's not naturally like giving you like the feedback of like, okay, yeah, I understand that. It's like, did they actually listen to a word I said, or are they just sitting there like kids in school where they're like, can't wait for this guy to stop talking. Like, please
Yeah.
stop talking so I can go on like with the rest of my day. So like, I didn't even
Yeah.
know how stuff was received. And last split, I actually came in person for a bit, got to meet all the players. Like, I don't think I met the players before. Maybe I met Phil like 8 years ago at like some random party and talked to him for like 5 minutes or something. Like maybe that was my full interaction with them in person. So I feel like it's good. It was like a good way for me to introduce myself to everyone. And yeah, when it came time to like decide if I wanted to commit, I think it was a pretty easy decision for me, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
I think that in general in life, it's better to chase things that you think are going to be fulfilling rather than like chase the bag, I guess. I think streaming, everyone knows, is like a pretty lucrative endeavor. But it is kind of, it's like very few highs, not that many lows. It's just
Yeah.
like, it's like pretty good all the time, you know, like that's how it is.
Yeah.
But I kind of want like, you know, the full depression and like the extreme elation of competing again, you know?
Makes sense. Yeah. We both want the trophy. I
Yeah.
still need mine.
Yeah.
I'm like dying for that. I know you want it bad. You've got a couple though, so
Have you never
whatever, bro.
won?
Nope. Second place. I've been a second place maxer. That's
Yeah.
always where I've landed at the peak.
Okay, we'll get you one
So
this year.
yeah, we're getting one this year. Or it's over for me. It's fine, guys. So
Yeah.
we'll get one this year.
So for Nick Smith, if we don't, perfect.
Obviously, like as coaches, we like worked together last year. I know in an interview I talked about how you were like the closest coach to me on the team. So I'm pretty excited to be working together and like talking about the game. We obviously had like one scrim day, but me, you, and Vagar have talked a lot in off season about what we're wanting to like change and add to the team. Our number one biggest goal being structure to what's happening.
Yeah.
Like we want to be able to have a better idea of what's happening in the game from our team, and for the players also, for all of you guys playing, to know, oh, my teammate's going to do this, so I know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like this is just like a set play that we have in mind. Cool, we can do that. Or yeah, we've done this so many times. I know what to expect. I don't need to like, is Blabber going to like go in there? That's still probably going to happen sometimes. We all know Blabber, like he's just the goat of that.
Yeah.
But we'll have a better idea.
Do you
for the
remember
most
in
part.
Game 5 versus FlyQuest when he did that?
I do remember that, but we
Okay.
don't need to remind me. So thank you.
Okay. Because that was Nick's first title. He just like he had it right there. It was taken away from him.
It was just.
Was that the Rockstar game or is that?
It was the Jarvan game.
No, that was the Jarvan game.
I don't remember the play.
It happens, you know.
You don't
It
remember
happens.
that play? Game 5 finals versus FlyQuest?
I remember him playing Rek'Sai and doing some funny plays in his Rek'Sai game.
No.
That was
Okay. We have to
another
remind
tragic one, but I picked Rek'Sai, so we have to shoot me. So Kespa Cup is obviously why we're here. We're boot camping to get used to you, Ian,
Yeah.
get better as a team, but primarily Kespa Cup. I guess kind of go on what Kespa Cup is. It's a tournament that's mainly been like Korean teams in the past. I think we're the first like Western teams to ever be invited
Yeah.
to it. So it's pretty big. Shout out to David Hahn, our general manager, for setting that up. Yeah, our first match, it's Jinji and HLE, same day. Just gonna like
Light work.
immediate gauntlet. And then our scrims before and after are TL as well. It was a big day for you, Ian. What do you think about that being your like first real match with us?
I know it'll just be fun. Like, I don't know. That's it. Like, I always love competing, and like, it'll be interesting to see, as in game mode so fast, because like most of the time when you join a new team, it's like you get like a couple months to like gel with the team and
Yeah.
get aligned with the coaches and all that stuff. But then it's like, we scrimmed yesterday for the first time. It's like what, the 30th today.
Yeah.
So we have like a week until we play. So I'll have like a week of scrims.
Yeah.
And then
we're
we're
diving
heading
in immediately.
straight
just like,
into the
we need
gauntlet.
to change this and do that.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. I think it'll like my hope is that even if we don't like have like an insane result here, it will like fast track our team and just give us like a big, just like, I don't know, starting point or however you want to put it for the start of this year. Because how we talked about earlier, where all the teams are like just a whole bunch of new teams. TO's got 3 new players, FlyQuest has 3 new players, Lions entire roster's new to each other. Like all these teams, like while they have good players, they haven't played with each other. But then we've already gonna play a tournament going into LCS. So my hope is like we'll like form strong opinions about how the team wants to play the game, and then just have like a jumping pad to start from rather than like a normal Korean boot camp where you just like hope you can get good scrims and then
And just go
play
home at the
solo
end.
queue and then
Yeah.
go home and then like lose it all because you have to go to Christmas.
Yeah. So for fans at home that might not know, we don't actually know the teams we're playing against, like the rosters, until the night before. So are you hoping to play versus Chovy? Are you hoping it's like the just full roster
he actually
thrown
wants
in?
to play against the like third team mid laner if possible.
Yeah.
Well, if I want to win, it's against a third team.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like for like
There's only top 2 teams from our group get like
Yeah.
the opportunity.
for like
go to the
the
next
experience,
stage.
it's definitely just nice to face against Chovy. Like I've already faced against Zeka earlier this year, but Chovy's a player that I haven't been able to face yet at a tournament, so it'll be like cool to be able to face him, even though it's like a lower stakes tournament. Like I'll still try hard, and I'm sure he'll like try his best too, hopefully.
Cool. So yeah, our group is HLE, Jinji, there's a Vietnamese representative,
And
and then
TRX.
FearX, who is hosting us the
Are
boot
they
camp
gonna
right
be
now.
in this facility at the same time?
Yeah, we're just
I think
playing.
so.
We're gonna be playing like right next to each other.
We're playing
Nice.
downstairs from each other.
Gonna try to
Perfect.
get like a competitive advantage in like the cafeteria or something.
They have cameras all in our room. They're just gonna look in and see what we're doing the entire
Yeah.
time. Perfect.
Nice.
So yeah, the top 2 teams promote from that. TL is the other NA representative who's also coming. Do you guys know who they have in their group other than T1?
They have a small
T1, the Japan All-Star team,
Mm-hmm.
and then
and Nongshim, I think.
the Nongshim Noodles.
So we're in the group of 5. TL got
Yeah.
the tiny group.
It's rigged against us
It is rigged against us.
from the beginning.
David
we got
Hahn.
Genji Hanwha Life, and they got like, Nongshim and
And then the world champs.
Yeah,
so
world
like,
champs.
it's just whatever.
but the world champs are not playing for sure because their team is in Germany, right?
Oh, true. So
Yeah,
it'll be
they're
the
playing right
CL
now in
team
Red Bull
probably.
tournament.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good for TL. Congratulations to them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. We can all just go back to playing solo queue and scrimming. Shout out again to Kia for hosting this boot camp for us. And then, yeah, we'll see you guys at Kespa Cup, and hopefully we do well and perform.